On March 15th, I had a meeting with the legal representative, Azerina Ryttberg, at MigrationSverket facility in Knivsta. This meeting was after being in communication for over a month with different case officers, team leaders, and decision makers at MigrationSverket. And the purpose of this meeting was to get a better understanding on which unit at MigrationSverket is responsible of issuing my travel document so I can leave Sweden. This recording was not private, and Azerina agreed to it in advance. And you can hear clearly in the audio how MigrationSverket agreed to CATCH-22 in several occasions during this meeting. They also stated that they cannot contact the Sudanese embassy because it's the country I'm seeking asylum from. But right now, everyone knows about my case because of MigrationSverket. This is another breach of my privacy, another abuse to my physical and mental well-being. MigrationSverket also admitted that there is a loophole in their system, that my case is unique and they don't have any similar case. They said they are sorry that I had to wait 3 years in the process without any updates. And they also said that they wish there is an easy way to solve this. So there is a way, but it's not easy, and MigrationSverket doesn't want to make any effort. According to the international and Swedish migration laws, and as a stateless person, it's within MigrationSverket's mandate, obligation, and power to issue me a one-way travel document to complete my flight for freedom.
So the reason why I wanted us to have this meeting is to get an opportunity to explain the situation for you. You have been sending us emails and we have been answering, but it feels like the same questions are like not answered. You are asking about a travel document, if I understand it correct. Mm-hmm. So you can go to Costa Rica. Mm-hmm. Yes. So
as I understood it, the whole case is that she has withdrawn her appeal to asylum and would like to leave the country.
Yes.
So so what? How can we solve that?
Yes, and we will start there, because when you apply for asylum in Sweden, then you start a process, and then if you don't think you anymore have a reason for asylum, or you can withdraw the application. And that's
I think she has a reason for asylum, but she doesn't want to have it in Sweden anymore.
Yes, and then she withdrew the application on the 15th of February this year. And on the 16th of February, you got a decision with an deportation to Sudan because you have withdrawn your application. You got information about the decision on the 18th of February. I think you had a meeting with her. I mean, we who work here, we cannot try your asylum reasons. That was what the unit in Gothenburg was doing. They were working with your asylum process, and they look at your reasons and make a decision. And since you took back your application, then they automatically made a decision that you had to go back to Sudan. And it also says in that decision that you can go back to another country if you have the right to be there. China sent an email on the 22nd of February, I think,
saying that she cannot go back to Sudan.
Exactly, yes, because the thing is, if you don't think that this decision that you got on the 16th of February is correct, if you think it's wrong for you to go back to Sudan, and I don't know why, yes, generally, I'm not talking about China, but if somebody withdraws their application and then appeal, then the court send the decision back to MigrationSverket to do an correct
follow up and the correct decision.
A couple of notes that you all are jumping over. Sverker, I love the points you're bringing up. Azerina, there's a very basic reason we took on Shaima's case. One, we've never lost a case when we take on instances like this. And it's great that you say you work in the legal department, because we need to get down to the bureaucracy of your current process that you represent. The whole issue actually comes down to a catch-22, and there's a hole in your system that we've exposed, and maybe we haven't made the hole big enough for you to see. And I can make it really clear now is that she chose to withdraw from a process that was not complete, based on being treated and forgotten about, and also based on the fact that you guys allowed her documents to expire. So when she was chose to withdraw in good standing as a tax-paying citizen, as someone who contributed to the arts of the culture, someone who posed no problem and who was not a threat to society in any means, the moment that she chose to withdraw was the only time in 3 years that your system chose to give an update. And I say your system, I'm not saying your people, I'm not saying the humans, I'm saying the system chose to respond as though something went wrong, and she was in her right to ask for withdrawal. You were in your right to approve it, but it doesn't mean that the asylum, her flight for asylum for freedom ends. You don't send someone back based on your own laws, based on international laws around the world. You cannot send her to Sudan, and that's the issue. You don't have the power to send her to Sudan. So the document that Parr tried to get her to sign, that he tried to get her to acknowledge, was to acknowledge the default judgment that your system just responded with. These weren't humans looking at a human's case. These were checkboxes that don't fit her unique case. There are no checkboxes on any international cases that we found. And this is what makes this case with 𝗀𝗲𝗂 very, very, very interesting for Sweden. Because if we show this loophole that is in your bureaucratic migration system that has allowed someone's valid travel documents to expire, thus meaning that your default response is to threaten them with deportation to the place they escaped from, when they only are asking for a documentation to get where they want to go to the next location. She has provided that documentation from Migration of Costa Rica, and we're still going through the bureaucratic process. If I show this hole into any other embassy or any of the other cases that we're working on, there will be thousands of people that will come and have to ask to have their cases retried, because they'll be like, wait, was I a part of that bureaucratic error that's in the system? So right now there's an opportunity to fix something really, really fast, rather than trying to just find the quickest solution. We can resolve this. She has the right to ask and be sent where she's requesting to go. And you cannot send her to Sudan. And that's why she did not sign that document. There is a very dangerous precedence being set right now. So I hope we're clear. This isn't all that other stuff and talk. We're down to the fact that your system has a hole in it, and we found it.
Okay, but I mean, usually when you withdraw your application, then it's because you want to go to your origin country. In this case, you don't want to do that. You want to go to another country to.
She will be killed if she goes back.
Yeah, but I'm not saying anything about that. I mean, that's nothing I'm talking about. That usually when you withdraw your application, it's because you want to go to your origin country.
Usually.
Yes, but in your case, you want to go to Costa Rica, and that's a country because that is where I think the problem is. We cannot give you your passport to go to the Sudan's embassy to make a new one or renew, because you have applied for security from your origin country.
Yeah, you just confirmed. Wait, because I don't want to run away from this. You just confirmed what the issue is. Let's get down to the caveat. Your system is used to sending people to the countries of origin. This isn't the matter. And so right now, Swedish law is a part of international law, and I can go through all of them if we need to go case by case. I just hope you've done your due diligence, because you can't send her to another country in certain zones. She has no fingerprints. She has violated no rules. Right now, based on her unique case, the only option you have is to send her where she chooses to go with the temporary travel document that you have the right and the mandate to do. And this may be out of your jurisdiction, but Sweden in and of itself can make this one-way travel document by international law alone. And I can show precedence on this document and what it is. It's in your documentation. Just because you haven't done it doesn't mean you can't. This is a very unique case. This is a unique case, and you know this. I hear it in what you just said. Usually.
Yes, but the reason why we got this decision in the first place is because 𝗀𝗲𝗂 took back her asylum application. So, I mean, nobody says here, she didn't got this decision because we think that she don't have the right, to asylum, it's because she said, I don't want to be in Sweden anymore. I want to end my process here. And then we have, according to the laws in the system, the decision was made. And
so of course that's a loophole. It's a loophole. When
yes, and right now the case is at the court. Either this alien's passport that I was informed you about, and I have emailed you about that, or this travel document when you have a decision that has been one legal force and you have to go back to your origin country. But there is no travel document that we can make for you to go back to a third country. So you need to have a valid passport for that.
So we have to find who could take. But it seems like you say, Tiger, it seems like it's a loophole.
𝗏𝗏𝗁, you're so sharp. I'm so glad that I'm getting to hear the points you're bringing up. And I hear what we're up against. And it is a loop. This is a catch-22. And 𝗀𝗲𝗂𝗏 will not be caught in the catch-22. Here's the issue, is that it seems like the only way to break the system is to make this an international issue. The last thing I wanted to do was take my private company and use our media influence to show this one flaw that is probably existing in every migration system across the world. This is really, really a very intense moment to consider. There are several exceptions. Like, I can show you article after article. I can show you the origin. If you want to talk about history and talking about the travel document and the alien's passport, if you know where the alien's passport and the travel document came from, they came from exceptions based on things like this in the system that had to be corrected as the world was learning how to deal with migration. So literally, like was written in a document to you before, everyone makes mistakes. This isn't the fault of humans per se. This is the fault of bureaucracy and a system getting so big that things fall through the cracks. We can't deal with this the same way it's always been dealt with. And I don't know the last time you've had a case like this, and I have asked you for some precedents. If you can show me any other case where someone else fell through the cracks like this, and this is what your default judgment was, then we could look at this differently. Right now, because you're not choosing to look at this differently, it's hard to leave this, as we are going in this loop of well, this is what we do. Well, this is where we are. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So it's not about doing this the same way and repeating the same things. The point is that there's a quote that says, if you can show that another country can receive you, you can travel there instead. You must then submit documents proving that the receiving country will agree to receive you. This is for someone seeking asylum. I have studied international law and know all the agreements on every country. And Costa Rica is in a country in alignment with Sweden that you can actually create the document to. I know this for a fact. It's just you got to read between the lines because it's not written for you. You got to put A, G, and Z together and say, oh my gosh, there it is right there. So can the document be made? 100,000% chance it can be made. A temporary one-way travel document to another country, yes, it's 100% chance that it can be made. Is it a simple provision in your current Aliens Act and your rules that says it so plainly? No. But if you zone out of the Swedish migration system and look at all the things that can't be done, if you look at what cannot be done, you can easily see what can be done. You cannot send her back to Sudan, where she escaped and is seeking asylum. You can't do it. That's why we already know that the judgment is going to be withdrawn. And the attempt is to, by default, put her back into the system that she's trying to get out of. That makes no sense. So that's not going to be approved or signed off on. So now what does the system do? I don't know. Go zero around in a loop. No, that's not going to happen. This is a life. We're talking about time. We're talking about stress. If you know her story and you realize what has started to happen when these individuals started to keep saying, deport, send you back. That's a stressful situation. Mentally, physically, that takes a lot out on a person. So we're still talking about a human sitting in that room right now that's dealing with something that affects time. Her time is at stake. So we can't keep going in this loop saying we can't do. But we can find out what we can do by looking at what you can't do. So let's look at this differently. Go through your laws like you said. I can help you happily. I know what you can't do. I can say it confidently. You can't send her back to Sudan. Unless she commits a crime or is a danger to your society, you cannot send an asylum seeker just because she withdrew, especially considering she doesn't have any valid documentation based on your system. She followed your rules. She would not be asking to travel to Costa Rica if it didn't expire within following all the rules of your system for 3 years and no response. The only response came when she withdrew. There is a flaw there that needs to be corrected. She's a human, not a check mark.
Yeah, I was just wondering now, who answered that you can go. Was it this pair? So we have to find, and where does pair sit?
He works here, but I think it's only, how do you say, because it says, I don't know, choice of words, or how do you put it? It should also, I mean, you need to have a valid passport and a permit to reside.
No, you don't. Slaves, people running for freedom, seeking safety for their lives, nowhere on this planet need any valid documentations. You cross border after border to seek safety. This is what you're saying is you talking from the system's perspective that isn't taking into account a life seeking safety. I can cross any border right now and go seek asylum with no valid documentation, only the fear for my life. So you saying that is a flaw. And we can talk to 𝘀𝗀𝗃, we can talk to other international, there is a lot more support and people looking at her case than I feel you guys know. And this is going to blow up really fast in a way where it's going to be resolved one way or the other. But what you're saying right now is not true. She doesn't need a valid anything at this point when she's seeking asylum, especially to go into Costa Rica. She doesn't need anything but to get there. Nothing.
And is what Herr Stavring writes here, is that right? Is he right?
You have the right to go to a country where they have, but you need to have it's nothing, you need to have a valid travel document yourself. There's nothing we cannot provide a travel document for you to go to a country, to another country. You understand? And I mean, you were through the whole process from the meeting you had when you wanted to withdraw your application, you were informed about this, that you would get a decision to Sudan and everything. So, I mean, you have got all the information the whole way.
You shared all of the information based on how the system works. Not when usually the words that you've used over and over again in this conversation is usually, normally, most people, those are the words you're using. This is a catch-22. She doesn't apply. And if this has happened before, just show one case where someone fell through the cracks based on their documents, valid documents expiring. They followed all the rules. They withdrew because after years of no response or updates, they wanted to seek asylum at the place where they initially were trying to go. Show me one case that you have or reference any case in any international court, and then I can listen to you, not talk from this is all we can do. How can you go from usually this is what we do to, oh, but we have to do it like this? There are no usuals in this case. This is a catch-22. You have never had a case like this. I know you haven't. I don't need to see all your cases.
No, but I that's correct, and that was what I said when I started this meeting. Usually when people withdraw their asylum application, it is because they want to go back to their home country. Because when you apply for asylum, you apply for asylum, residency, and then the different, statusförklaring and the reasons why you get asylum. Working permit, travel document, and alias passport. And all of these, you took back all of the, applications on the 15th of February when you withdrew your application for asylum.
You still have my travel document. The one that expired in your passport.
Yeah, you have a passport, but I mean, when you apply for asylum, you can also apply for a travel document or alien's passport, as I was talking about before. If they think that you need protection from your home country, so you cannot go to the embassy with your passport, then you get a travel document from the. I mean, the reason why. We only work with people that want to return voluntarily. So I mean, our unit only works with those people who wants to go back, and we help them with that. In your case, you want to go to Costa Rica, and we don't have that possibility. We cannot help. You don't have a residence permit in Costa Rica. You don't have a valid passport, and we cannot help you with that.
Catch-22, there's no valid documentation because you never created it and it expired in your possession, which is what keeps you in this process. It expired in your possession.